Asked on our Get Resource, where we talk about anything around getting resource to self, source, and others. We go live every Friday at 12 p.m. And because it's live, we can take questions. So you can comment when the streams are being casted out to Facebook. And right now, I'm also testing it out on our Facebook group at Get Resource Group on Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, YouTube. Like and subscribe at Get Resourced. And we love to open up with what's alive in you right now, Summer?
I'm feeling quite content and excited. We're going to Mexico tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to basking in the sun and the salt water and with some really good friends of ours, Kathy and Marco, who invited us to go with them. So I'm looking forward to the rest, the reprieve, and the rejuvenation. That's what's alive in me. What's alive in you today?
Excitement. Just kind of eager and ready to go. Yeah, there's a few things I get to do to shore things up and be prepared for it. And you're ready to be in that space of nothingness so that newness can be born within it.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's alive in me. Yes, creativity. And also curiosity that this stream is not going to the Facebook group for some reason. So I'm a bit distracted, but I'm going to stay present and figure this out later. Um, we had our, it's been a big week. We had our 2 day ultimate relationship event on Monday night and Tuesday night. And it was a lot. Yeah, a lot was shared, and we gathered a lot of feedback as well. So there's been a lot of learning for me, a lot of growth edges being leaned into, and a lot of expansion within me as well, and a lot of criticism, my inner judge coming in there and out. And overall, I think it's just going to be better the next time around, right? And so coming out of that, there was a particular exercise that I judged I totally flubbed on. the, the intent of it, because one of the biggest pieces that we wanted to teach on day two was how to, set boundaries with compassion, how to say no without compromise, right? That the no is not really the end, and that we can meet everybody's needs without having to like betray ourselves, right? And moving away from compromise is moving away from people pleasing. So the point of the exercise was for me, excuse me, I got something stuck in my throat. Is the example I gave to Summer was, hey, can you help me move this Saturday, right? And for Summer to say no, and for me to really connect behind like her yes behind her no. But what I noticed I was doing in that moment was using her feelings and needs and what she was sharing to try to convince her to help me move on Saturday. Okay. So even though I flubbed the exercise, what it typically revealed was the part of me that is still on this agenda of trying to get what I want. And that is a lesson on its own, right? That's an experience of on its own of like, wait a minute, I am in this paradigm of trying to control, trying to convince, and trying to manipulate, right? And how often do we find ourselves trying to do that, trying to persuade, trying to convince or use the information relayed back? For example, like, hey, no worries. If Summer's like, no, I need some time to rest and be free. And I'm like, still, well, why not be free with us and rest with us? Like it's like not really hearing her. So I wanted to present this conversation as in even that exercise has a lot of components to it. And one of the first components is like how to say a no if I'm a people pleaser, and how would it be if I were to receive a no? What does that mean to me, right? That this person doesn't like me, what type of judgments, rejection stories that's coming about. So yeah, I'd like to, throw it back to you, babe, of what's coming through for you regarding that exercise right now.
Yeah, it's a paradigm shift, right? When you were saying, we always try to convince people, whatever. There's that sales thing in business and marketing and even in families, I think. Um, and I think we're heading to a new way of, of being. I think the simplest way to describe that is that if there's only two people, one person has an idea of the world and what they would like, and the other person has an idea of what they would like, or maybe they just always acquiesce to the second person. But if people can really tap into the life-serving energy that motivates and sustains them, what Marshall Rosenberg calls our needs, if everyone knows and can embody their full yes to life itself, to what brings them joy, to what brings them the sense of connection or mutuality or collaboration and growth, which are universal needs that we have, if everybody knows inside their own body what is like, oh, that brings me alive. Yes, let's do it. That's what we're connecting to when we're speaking to people. And that is the ultimate goal in mind, not to convince something about our little yeses or what we think we want, but the collaborative, hell yes, life serving energy. And there's a saying in some, I think it's self development or places, that two different ideas of something, when they're combined, can create a third reality that it's better than the first two could have come up with on their own. But for some reason, we don't trust that. We don't trust how people's yeses, people's authenticity, their true joy can come through together to create something and meet each other's needs that's better than what the first or the second person thought of. This isn't really in our culture yet, but through the inherent idea behind nonviolent communication, which is Marshall Rosenberg's work, and the true spirituality of creation or co-creation that can happen in relationship, just creates this exponential ground for new realities to be birthed through two different points of view. So then it becomes this idea that we don't have to conflict. You don't have to be wrong and I have to be right and I don't have to get my way. It's a sense of profound curiosity
Mm.
and longing to truly connect to someone else. And by connecting to them, we discover true life-serving energy that elevates us as well as them. Therefore, there's no compromise. And so that's the idea, that's the concept that can truly be embodied.
Mm. Yeah, a bit tricky, eh? To unlearn the paradigm because, like, yeah, my default is try to convince and try to persuade. Happy Friday, Tracy.
Yeah,
Um,
Tracy.
yeah, and this idea of like, can I connect to the essence of like your needs, right? Like it goes both ways. Like in that conversation, if I'm asking, making a request, can I connect to the beauty of your needs, of your need for rest and relaxation and flow? And then you also reciprocate to connect to my need for support and companionship and consideration. And we can birth something. And one thing I learned from my teacher is like the conflict happens on the strategy level, right? Of to meet those needs. So it doesn't happen on the needs because we have the same needs. I have a need for relaxation and flow, right? And freedom. And you have a need for consideration, support. So we can relate. It just how we go about meeting those needs could be different. And another key piece that like I forgot in that practice of that exercise was letting go of the idea that my needs need to be met with you. that
Mhm.
we can meet our needs without each other, and being open to that. That it doesn't have to be us involved. It could be other people that we can also bring in to help our needs be met. So it's this idea that I got to be open to a no, and at the same time be open that um, to the idea of meeting our needs separately.
Well, that the universe will provide us exactly what we need if we're open to how it comes to us. And this is what the people mistake, especially when people talk about the spiritual concept of manifestation. It's like, okay, I want this and I want it this way. Well, no. Put the energy of what, again, it comes back to the life serving energy. What brings you alive, that it is also in congruence with the energy that the universal field, the consciousness that is connected to all of us. And so this is where we get in a little bit of a trap when we're talking about couples, because often in our culture, we're a little bit isolated and we rely on our partners for so many things. Um, and this is where, if we bring in other people into our relationship, and let's be clear here, I'm not talking about polyamory or anything like that. I'm just talking about friends and community and a tribe that support the gifts that a couple might bring into the world. And I like to say to people, we have car insurance, house insurance, life insurance, and all these things that we've paid for. But when do we have relationship insurance? And what would that look like? And what that looks like is having outside, not judgments or opinions, other people to be with you that reflect back to you through their own relationship what's alive in the relationship. Because sometimes we can fall into holes or pits or um, challenges that we can't see our way through because we're under stress. Whereas other people, mentors, or what's so badly missing in our culture is elders. Elders that believe in us, that want to be a part of our lives. So many people are like, oh, I don't want to share my dirty laundry. There's this shame based reality that we live in. And how can we just come to be human with each other in this life? I think we're moving away, and I think Gray Braden in his new book talks about this. Our culture has been so competition based, so judgmental based. We're moving back into a world of cooperation and community, and where we can start to feel alive and feel a sense of meaning in our life and feel this abundance of friendships, of food, of loveliness that, for example, our friends Kathy and Marco brought to us by inviting us to share their space in Mexico. Like, oh my God, we didn't need money to do that. We have a relationship that enjoys their space and their time, and therefore they invite us into that. And man, that's way better to me than paying for an all-inclusive where I go and I don't know anybody and it's really annoying. I get to share space and share food with them and have this connection that I think we're all so desperately looking for, but don't know how to achieve because we're busy scorekeeping often in relationship. Oh, well, you did this, you shoveled the walk, so I'll make the dinner. And it's this tit for tat thing versus, oh my gosh, I saw you light up when this happened. And I want to give you more of what lights you up. Because when you're lit up, I feel like I'm on the planet for a reason. And so this saying no without compromise is about saying no to the strategies, not to the full bodied yes that I want to see in someone else. That's what I want. I want them to say no to what isn't truly aligned to them. I want to celebrate that. Yes, please say no because I want to know who you really are. Tell me who you really are so I can connect to that joy and through your joy experience more of my own. That's really what that is. When we say yes to something, we're also saying no to something else. And if we're saying a full body yes, what we're saying no to is something less than that. And that should be celebrated. And so that's where that whole piece comes from. So I'm curious your reflections on that now. And yeah, our how we've been taught to kind of get our way and manipulate our way in different ways and how that looks different.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes time to unlearn that. As you spoke about the paradigm of competition, uh, of punishment, of domination, of control. So to say that hearing this and applying it right away is like um unrealistic. Like right away, I mean. There requires a space where it's safe for me to practice that. Like reading from a book and hearing it is one thing, though practicing it and embodying it is another.
I guess
And
there's
so
no
it's
volume, Dre. No volume, Kevin says.
so if you can hear me, then there's volume. So can you hear me a bit?
I can.
Yeah. So it's on Kevin's end. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tracy, can
Yeah.
you hear? Yeah, Kevin, maybe your computer just got to turn up the volume.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just got to turn up your volume, Kevin.
Well, if he can't hear
So
us, he can't tell us that.
yeah. Where was I here? Uh,
That's perfect.
yeah. So yeah, going back to the space. Yeah, Tracy can hear. Um, Going back to the space where the skill gets to be practiced, so that I can really feel the energetic signature between like a yes and a no. Like getting clear on my yeses, getting clear on my no. Because in a culture of people pleasing, um, it's difficult, and it's I got to practice it to move that energy through my body of like, yes, I want people to say no to me, and I want to be able to say no.
Mm.
So it's the practice of that to figure out what's in my body. Is my chest caving in? Am I tight with my muscle? Am I not breathing? And where does that come from? So what I notice in spaces where we can have open conversations is that it's so easy to commiserate with someone's victim story. Okay. Because now I'm stuck in the story, I'm stuck in projection, and it's all this, it's like a tangled knot. And we're talking about someone else. And we're talking about someone else in a situation that we want to change rather than talking about myself and what's going on in my inner experience. Because that's what I can take responsibility for. And that's what I have power over is my interpretation. So when I'm talking about someone because there's a conflict, okay, what's going on within me? What am I trying to get here? Right. And that's why through the work of Marshall, it's very simple to go under the feelings and needs. And even by sharing it, like even last night in our class, like even having the awareness is enough for today. Like it doesn't need to come to a solution. Like there's so much fixation and dependency on fixing something right now and
Mm.
coming up with a solution. And everybody's so eager to help and wanted to fix, but doesn't need to have it fixed right now. Perhaps the fix is just talking about it without judgment, allowing those words to be spoken through, and also noticing when I'm in victim and I'm not taking responsibility for my words, or I'm in story, to come back to, okay, what do I want and need? What type of support do I want? Bringing it back home to myself rather than being so fixated on that person, because what's going to happen is that people typically commiserate because they want to bond, they want to connect, and then we start blaming that person, we start gossiping about that person, which is not the point. The point is how what this person is doing. If I'm triggered and reactive, that's my stuff to work on. So what about that person is a stimulus for me to look in with myself, that I get to unpack, right? And that's it's such a clear delineation of that, because we need to talk about this. Because there's if we don't, then we get into spaces where it doesn't feel safe for me to open up and practice saying no, because I'm being judged, I'm being fixed, I'm being consoled, right? I just want to be held and listened to and be present to. Or I'm in spaces where we're complaining about a certain person over and over and over again. And that's draining, right? And it's very disempowering.
It is.
So
Definitely.
where I'm coming from is now, to summarize it, is a container that has those key principles so that we can practice these relational dynamics in a safe space to unlearn and unprogram, and then go out in the real world and apply it to our friends and family, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. What I spoke of is I believe where we're going as a species, but people first need to recognize what their full body yes is, and most people don't know what that is because they've been busy people pleasing or avoiding or subtle manipulations that we don't even realize are subtle manipulations. Um, and we have this habitual response to people when they ask, and we don't really know how to respond any differently. So often we say yes. That's why, adrenal fatigue, burnout, um, fibromyalgia is there's so much of it. Autoimmune diseases. Auto means authentic. We don't know how to respond authentically in the world that we currently live in. So you're right. The first exercise is, how do I know what my yes is? And then in muscle testing, they do that. What's good for your body? What's no for your body? If any of you have been to a naturopathic doctor or any type of practitioner who practices kinesiology or muscle testing, your body, its muscles know what's yes and what's life giving to it. You can test for supplements, you can test for all sorts of things. But how is it that we can go inside our own body to test for our own yes? And how does that become automatic and something that we're encouraged to do? That's the question. And I believe that comes back to having a vocabulary that helps us describe what's going on in our body. So back to Marshall Rosenberg's feelings and needs lists.
Mm,
Feelings, which describe emotions. And I'd love for you to explain the difference between feelings and emotions, Dre, but feelings that describe emotions and body sensations. So you notice they're synonymous. And these emotions and body sensations then alert us to look at our needs, which is defined as words that describe the life serving energy that motivates and sustains us. And so we haven't been taught how to describe the energy that's going through our body and what it actually means. We're taught how to heal it, but we're not actually taught, well, how does energy run through my body? How am I a conduit to source? In yoga they say namaste, I see the God in you and me. But what does it really mean? How does life-serving energy, universal energy, quantum field energy, God, how does it actually move in my body? We don't actually really understand that. And so I think it's about learning about what our aligned, authentic, life-giving, life-serving yes is in our
mm,
body.
mm. Yeah. The beauty part with those feelings and needs inventory is that it gives the language, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Um, for me to identify, because it helps my mind understand, and gives it ease to understand what's going on underneath the hood, and to add to the piece of feelings and emotions, this the distinction is that feelings are words and labels for my mind to understand and describe the emotion, which is the energy and motion in my body, the bodily sensation. So they're the same thing. Um, it's just one is the word and one is the energy. The word that describes the energy. Yeah. Mm.
So you said feelings are the words that describe the energy, and the emotion is the actual energy that's in the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Hmm.
So I'm curious if you wanted to do that exercise again, just as a demonstration.
Yeah, sure. And what I love to do is like take pauses
Yeah.
to express what's going on in my inner dialogue.
Aha, great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, we can do you want me to make that request again?
Yeah, yeah, why not? Or a different one, whatever you feel like. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, hey babe, I was wondering if you could help me and my friend move this Saturday. Yeah, we need this all the support that we can get.
Oh, this Saturday. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Mm.
No.
So I'm gonna pause there. What's going on in me is I feel disappointed. Yeah, I'm like, dang it. I wish, Summer would be there. I really enjoy her company and her help. Yeah. So there's that for me, there's that need of like support, companionship, um, cooperation, participation that's coming in the way. So I'm noticing myself like, dang it. And then I'm noticing another piece of me wanting to convince. So I'll do that right now. So oh yeah, okay. You're right. Hey, like we'll have your favorite pizza. World pizza.
Oh.
How's that
Yeah.
sound? Hang out
Uh,
with us and yeah.
you know, I I do like pizza, but it's not enough for me to give up my day or anything to come. Like yeah, no, no. And I'm gonna pause too, because what you said before, your internal dialogue, if you spoke that out loud, I'd be like, oh, like I'm disappointed. I really like hanging out with you. That's different from, can you come help me move? Because moving's a strategy, but it's like, oh, I want you to be a part of my life, and I feel disappointed. I feel connected to that versus the ickiness of you trying to convince me to do something with the pizza.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a revealing of like uncovering what's going on underneath me, like my vulnerability,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
let me express that then. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, that sucks. I feel disappointed, babe. Yeah, I really enjoy just being with you. You're my favorite person. Um,
Mm.
I actually enjoy more just sharing that time with you than actually getting your help to move.
Oh.
Because
Uh,
yeah.
oh. Yeah, I was like, well, get movers for goodness sakes. Like, why are you asking me to give up my Saturday?
Mm,
Um, but because I really enjoy, my freedom of time, and part of what I really enjoy on the weekends is just connecting with people, spending time that's leisurely and having fun. And when you say, God, can you help me move, I'm like, oh great, I'll have to like lug things into a truck and move it back and forth, and I won't be able to do the things that I really enjoy doing on my weekends. uh,
mm,
but when you put it that way, like spending time, I'm like, oh well, that feels different in my body. um yeah, I mean, one of the things I really love doing on the weekends is going to the farmers markets, seeing the fresh food and the people there and what's going on. So that's something I don't really want to give up.
mm. Yeah, I'm gonna take a pause here. I'm noticing now when that disappointment, when I didn't vocalize it, I was ruminating around that disappointment. And because I'm ruminating around my disappointment, I'm
What do you
not
mean
really
by that?
hearing,
What is
like,
room being around it?
ruminating, like It's kind of just like having it right in my face. Like it's an energy that I haven't expressed yet.
Mm.
So it clouds my vision. And I'm just reflecting back to the exercise before on Tuesday night. When I was ruminating in my disappointment, I wasn't able to hear your need for like freedom and relaxation. And I'm noticing on myself like trying to convince you so that I can feel better about my disappointment. Like I was trying to fix my feeling of disappointment by
Mhm.
trying to convince you so that you can help me relieve that feeling. So the next time, what I'm learning here is to express that disappointment so that I allow that energy to flow through so that I have more spaciousness to hear you. Of course, it helps a lot when you hear me that I'm disappointed and that I actually want to spend time with you. Um, that allows me to, like, oh, I feel heard, and I have more capacity to hear that and come back to it. Yeah, like, um, sounds like, yeah, you love to start your day with like no alarm clock, no agenda, do what you want to do in the morning, have that freedom and flexibility. Um, I hear you like to, go to Bountiful, check out the different produce, the people there. Yeah, like I remember the times going with you. It's super exciting. It's fun. It feels like an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like to think about what I'm gonna make for dinner or have people over. It's yeah, because food to me is like kind of like an art with the colors and the flavors, and it just makes me feel more alive than the time crunch of everything and maybe eating fast food or having pizza, for example.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, right. Okay, totally. And that sounds fun to me. Like, I really enjoy doing that with you. I was wondering though, like, because I know I'm moving with my buddy there on Saturday, um, and I also want to enjoy my time with you as well. Yeah, I was wondering huh, if you would like company to go to the farmers market. Like, I'm just realizing that I do enjoy being with you in that energy. So I'm just thinking out loud, like, hmm.
I'm curious
Can
because
I
I'm confused because you're moving on Saturday, and I know moving takes so much time, and I don't know how many
Yeah.
people you have helping you if you have movers, but how are you going to go to the
Yeah,
farmers?
we're moving in the afternoon.
Oh,
So it's around like 1 to 4 PM in the afternoon. Yeah, yeah. That's what's happening. Yeah. And I'm just curious to see here, like, okay, you know what? Like, um, just yearning to be with you. I mean, I could go to the Bountiful Market with you in the morning.
yeah. I mean, if you wanted to, like, I'm okay going by myself. I don't know which friend are you moving?
Oh, his name is Bob. We're moving from Millwoods to Woodmere. And
Millwoods
those
to Windermere. Okay, so and it's how much stuff is are you moving? Like,
Yeah, I think right now it's all the big stuff. I mean, there's little stuff, but I think it really needs help with the sofa, the cabinet, like extra hands, right, to lift the heavy stuff. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so he's not like moving the whole house. He's just moving some stuff.
Piece by piece. Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's been
okay.
done over several days.
Oh, okay. Oh, that
Hmm.
that puts a bit of ease in my body. I'm like, oh my god, how's I move it? Because I've usually seen people move so much stuff all in one day, and the stress too that comes with that kind of stuff. For some people in the way that they move. Uh, and Millwoods is really close to Bountiful, actually. So, I mean, I I could probably or we could probably go to the market and just kind of relax and do that stuff. And I'd be willing to go to Mill Woods to help on that end. I don't think I want to go all the way to um, Windsor.
Mm. The
That's way,
Windermere, right?
yeah, like that would be too much time for me. But yeah, I'd love to hang out with Bob. I like that guy, and I like like to connect. I find a lot of people too busy to connect, and so yeah, maybe
Mm.
we can go to the market and get some food and help move, and I can stay behind and like make a dinner or something back there. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Listen to some music. I could even help clean or whatever. Um, be in a new environment. I actually, yeah, I would enjoy that. I would enjoy that. Actually, I don't know if that. I don't know what Bob's doing, but
Yeah. Yeah. As long as that sounds good to you, like it's okay for you to say no. But if that resonates, that's cool with me. Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate you really saying it, and I hear that it's authentic that you're allowing me to say no, but I really feel that suits my Saturday to enjoy the time with
Mm.
people as long as I don't have to be there at a specific time, and I
Oh.
can hang out at the market and say, "Hey, I'm ready to come over at such and such a time," and not like
Mm.
a regimented time frame. I don't know how that would work, like if there's a rental truck or whatever, but I would love to do that. I would love to hang out with you guys, support that as long as there's not that stress of regimented time frames, and I don't have a long drive. I don't want to be driving to Windermere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Like we're gonna be starting moving around one. At the Millwoods location, we'll be hanging around there for like an hour and a half to just load up the U-Haul, and then the second half of that, we're gonna move it. We're gonna drive to Windermere, and yeah, you don't have to join us for that ride. Um, though if it lines up, then yeah, come hang out. And I hear you need to not have a regimented time frame, and that you don't want to travel to Windermere either. Though you love to hang out with us, hang out with Bob, and perhaps offer some of your treats or gifts or something. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I'm happy. I'm cool. Like I get to see you, and Bob gets to see you, and yeah, that
I
sounds
like to
wonderful.
cook. I love to cook, and I love people who eat my food.
Beauty. I'm in. I'm in. Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah. So I don't know. Once you guys go to Windermere, you're going to come back, right? The plan was to come back then. To
Uh, I'll be leaving there. I'll be taking my own car, but then after Windermere, like for me, my capacity is like 1 to 4, and then I'm coming back home after that.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, just helping him during that period. Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. So check in with Bob and just see if that works.
yeah,
And
sounds
I'd be
good.
excited to do that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I'm noticing, like for me, like making the request, like it seems like it's much more easier uh, for you receiving it to offer your proposition, like what's in alignment with you, like versus like me trying to offer a new proposition, because then I feel like I'm trying to convince you or persuade you or come up with another solution, right? Like it's like I made the request, and it's easier for me when you share what your feelings and needs are around that, and for me to be more receptive of a request coming from you, because I'm like, that's authentic to you. And then for me to be like, yeah, I can connect with considering your need for freedom and relaxation, right? I'm just noticing it within myself because I can see the part of me, if I do make another request, it's like I'm trying to change the details such a bit to meet those needs, but then it seems like I'm still trying to convince you, if you know what I mean. And I'd rather have you uh, offer what is resonate with you on the table.
Mm.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
makes sense. Some people are able to do that, and I am. I'm like, oh,
Mm,
I would love to hang out with you. So how about this? Because I know what meets my needs. But if I didn't know what meets my needs, it would be helpful for another person to, well, how about this? And then they check in with their body. Oh, yeah, but it's not like a convincing thing. It's more of a here's an experiment. Here's a suggestion. see how it resonates or lands in your body. And
Yeah.
watching for those clues that it does. Like when you're like food and whatever, I'm like, ha, oh, people who'll eat my food. This is great. Um, watching for what lights the other person up. Um, so that we can both get our needs met. And this is where it's like, unless you say what your needs are and you're disappointed, I can't get excited about, oh, because everybody wants to contribute to everybody's life. That's the thing. People want to be in service to each other, truly be of service, not helping, not people pleasing, not manipulating. They want to be in true service because that feels best for everybody. So
Mhm.
sometimes it is easier.
Yeah, really, really important, especially with like,
What?
yeah, go ahead, babe.
I was just going to say, I'm curious if there's an anxiety about guessing wrong. Like if you were to guess, like instead of thinking that you're trying to convince me to do something, but to try to guess what gives me life serving energy. If you feel like, oh, I might get that wrong, or what if I am manipulating? Like if there's that.
Yeah, absolutely. When that thought comes in, then it's not clean, right? And good point of just taking a guess and seeing if that lands. My concern is more of like a worry that that person is people pleasing, and I'm not sure exactly if they're truly saying yes to it. It could be another persuasion tactic from me, but I don't want to come across like that. That's why it's so important to say, hey, it's okay to say no. Like just putting it out there and being like, hey, it's all good if it's not alignment. Because like there's a part of me that doesn't want to continue to ask. Like if someone says no, then I want to honor that no, right? And so that paradigm of asking again and asking again can come off as convincing and persuading. Because I've done that before too, where I didn't listen or honor that person's no. So to continue the dialogue behind the no and continue, because a no is a yes to something, and figure out what that yes is, it's such a paradigm shift. It requires such unprogramming on both ways, right? One for me is like receiving a no. What does that mean to me? And for me to say a no and being like okay with it.
Yeah, it's such a simple concept, but all of the programming and the thoughts that go behind there's a lot.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, there's just one exercise was just like, okay, say something and then just get used to saying no versus, hmm,
Mm,
actually, when someone says no, going in your head, oh, but I'm curious what their actual yes is versus, oh no, like I have to convince them to say yes versus, oh, I'm curious what's alive in them. I wonder what their yes is. And it's okay if it's a no for what I want. I'm okay without a no. And that does have to be put aside to really get at what their yes is. Knowing and
mm,
trusting that even if this person can't help me move, they're sick, they broke their leg, then of course we don't want them to say yes. That would be stupid. But finding um, and trusting that the universe has another way because it's life serving to meet your need and to let go of the way or the strategy that comes about.
mm. Yeah, it's a level of mindset and consciousness for me to come in with. Like it helps having that in the back of my mind of like, yeah, I want to be curious, right? I want to connect with what's behind that. And typically when I ask for something, it's like a no, it's like immediately it's like, oh, I'm not good enough. This person doesn't like me. I feel disappointed. Or okay, how can I convince this person? Da 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 da. The stories run, right? So it's just having that awareness of like, okay, wait, I'm gonna approach this differently now. I'm gonna approach this with the consciousness of, yeah, being curious, of exploring, and being okay to receive a no and not take it personally. So it's definitely a lot of unwiring. Yeah, in that there's a lot of crunchiness before it becomes like, oh, and everybody's different. Everybody's starting at a different starting point. I'm just saying this is my experience of what's happening underneath me,
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
through
so
this.
valuable to know what's happening underneath for us, right? That's the whole point. What's underneath my hood? How does my car, vehicle, body conduit work? What brings me alive? And I don't really want to um, take away from someone what brings them alive because of what I need. Um,
Mm.
so it's not about compromise, it's about trusting actually in the abundance of the world. Like everything's there.
Mm. Yeah, and the big piece too is like knowing that like that my needs don't have to be met by you.
No.
Like letting that go. And when I can let that go, then there's an energy of like the freedom to choose,
Yeah, and that's
right?
a big piece where people really need that. And the funny thing is, as soon as you let go of your desire for me to have it, and you honestly give me the freedom to choose, I will choose because I want to serve you.
Wow. That's such a switch between like an invitation to give versus a demand.
Very different.
Yeah, and if I can find myself easily like demanding, right? Like wanting this. And then that comes into the persuasion piece again and convincing again. That control paradigm, right? Yeah. But really energetically, like it's not a mental thing. It's like energetically, am I truly letting that go? Like not having expectations that you're going to be the one to meet my needs. Like really truly letting that go.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
It goes back to like meditation and manifestation stuff. Like, okay, this is what I want. And people are trying and attempting to tell God or the universe or that universal energy flow what to do versus listening to what it wants for us so that we're in alignment with a greater life serving energy that serves us all, that's greater than our own little think of what we think we want versus something that is actually going to serve us even greater than what we think we wanted. It's very different. And that's the thing.
Mhm. And I
Oh,
realize,
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
what I was saying, and the realization when I do have that expectation of you fulfilling that, there's there's a story that's going within me that's attached to that. I'm realizing it's like if Summer doesn't say yes, then it means she doesn't love
Mm-hmm.
me, or I'm not worthy, or um, my needs don't matter. I'm noticing that there's a story that's playing out within me, a wound for me to look at if I'm attached to the yes and no. Because when the no comes and there's a hurt, interesting.
Yeah.
Where's that hurt come from? And that's for me to be inquisitive for myself, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where are those stories? They don't love me because of that.
Ah. That's why then I'm attached because I want you to say yes, because then that proves you love
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And so interesting that love is attached to things or what people do versus what
Mm.
love really is, which is patient, which is kind, which is I'm thinking of that Corinthians verse. Um, and you know what else this is reminding me of is how many conversations we're having when we're having a single conversation.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's not just the conversation of helping you move, it's the conversation of, oh, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? Is what I feel okay? What are they feeling? What are they
Mm.
needing? And is it okay? There's so many conversations going on in our heads all at once, and we don't actually acknowledge all of them.
Mm. Yeah, it happens in an instant, like light
Yeah.
speed.
So it's the skill of catching them and being vulnerable enough to speak them so we can actually learn what is it that we're actually saying.
Yeah.
Underneath it, we're saying, oh, I don't feel good enough. That's the actual conversation. I'm not good enough if they don't say yes. I'm not loved if they don't say
Mm.
yes. That's the actual conversation that's going on.
Mm. Yeah, and when I work on that, when I become aware of that, then the next time it becomes a lot
Yeah.
easier to not have attachment because I know where that attachment comes from.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it requires me to slow down and notice, yeah, the conversations, right? The energetic signatures. In a way, it requires me
Yeah,
practice
it does. It does. It does.
to be in the dojo.
What?
Because reading it, listening, the I call it the
What's that? I
dojo,
don't know
the
what that
dojo.
is. Don't you? Yeah.
The dojo, it's kung fu, you martial arts dojo, like, just practicing the punch, the kick, or the karate chop over and over again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm used to it, I can build it in, and it becomes embodied, like, I can really feel when I own my no. I can really feel when someone says no to me and being like,
Oh, I love
"Ah,"
that concept. The dojo. I
right?
think that's like more of a men's word. Never heard of it
Dojo.
before. Yeah, the karate chop practice. The
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah, like, over and over again,
Mhm.
right? And then it becomes second, more second nature, and then I can practice it in life, at work, at home. Um, so for me to listen to a podcast, to listen to the stream, or read a book on it, and be like, "I got it." Man, that's an illusion of my mind telling me that I got it.
Yeah, it reminds me. I was talking to Brenda. She's one of the ladies in our Soul Truth Academy. She was saying, yeah, there comes a time where we can read so many books, but then we've got to take the knowledge out of the book and embody it and take action. And so, what's the practice in the daily life of being able to
Mm,
do that? And we do have a Facebook group to help support you with that,
mm,
and events and things like that. So, if you want to find it, it's Get Resourced. Um, and you can join us in that group to have conversations and things like that, as well as our YouTube channel. Um, what else do we want to say about that? That was a very enlightening conversation.
yeah, I think that wraps it up pretty well, right? I mean, no in itself has so much layers to it, right? And if we were to give you a practice, it's just a practice to say no and to receive a no, and just notice the conversations that are happening.
Yeah. I wonder
Yeah.
though if people don't understand this whole context, how can they can practice without that? We do have a community chrysalis and some ideas about that. So just reach out if you want to know more about that. Um, I'm excited to actually build out more information and practices about building the dojo of the no. It's kind of a fun idea. I like it. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, live practices could be on this stream,
Mm,
right? Let us know if you want to jump on. We go live every Friday. The Facebook group, as Summer mentioned, is a place where we post events and get-togethers and hangouts. And part of our community, Chrysalis, we have support calls, right, for those that are in the class, through our conscious communication course. Though I think it's a great idea to also open it up, right, to be available for the public to see what's going on. I mean, we have our ultimate relationship event. We're going to be doing that again soon, right? And that's another great place to practice, to hear the concepts and practice it, right? We really want to create spaces where people can experience
yeah.
it. That's where the true embodiment learning comes from, is when you're living it with someone and practicing with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd actually be excited if anyone wants to come on, get resourced, and come up with a thing you want to ask someone about and practice the no dojo. What we can call.
Yeah. No dojo. That kind of rhymes felt pretty good, didn't it?
I
Doesn't
think
it?
we just
Yeah.
created
No
something
dojo.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
No.
yeah, that's true. That's right. Look at that. We can even write that on there. No. Oh, maybe yeah. No. Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah, wax on, wax off. You know? It's
Yeah.
good stuff. Awesome. So, yeah, we'll close it here. the next time you'll see us live, we'll have some palm trees in the back and some sunny weather, some ocean views. So yeah, check us back on here Friday, 12 p.m. Mountain, and yeah, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Get Resource, and we have a Facebook group called Get Resource, so re-sourced group for conscious co-creating relationships.
Yeah. See you in one of those places.
Yeah.